Hello friends, welcome to the Oracle Integration Cloud Training Program. So this video is part of lesson 3 and today we are going to cover FTP adapter and its capabilities, how to generate public and private keys, how to generate pretty good privacy public and private keys, and how to provision FTP server, and then how to create a FTP connection. Why we are generating public and private keys, why we are generating pretty good privacy public and private keys is because we will use all these keys in my FTP connection. Okay, the public and private keys will be used to provision the FTP server, and the same will be used while creating the FTP connection. Okay, so what FTP adapter is? The FTP adapter is one of the many predefined adapters included with Oracle Integration Cloud. We can configure the FTP adapter as a connection in an integration. The FTP adapter retrieves files for processing in Oracle Integration Cloud and can upload files from Oracle Integration Cloud to a directory on a remote FTP server. FTP adapter can connect FTP and SFTP servers that are accessible either over the internet or behind the firewall. So the FTP which are accessible over the internet or which are accessible within company's network. So both type of FTPs can be connected with the help of FTP adapter. But if your FTP is behind the firewall, you have to install a connectivity agent or the on-premise agent on the same data center where your FTP server resides. It enables read and write files to FTP server in either binary or ASCII format. It enables to encrypt and decrypt file using pretty good privacy cryptography, which means if you wanted to encrypt, if you wanted to write a file on a FTP location and you wanted to encrypt that file, yeah, Oracle Integration Cloud provide a pretty good privacy cryptography mechanism which can help you to encrypt the file. Same way, if you wanted to read the encrypted file and you wanted to decrypt it, yeah, you can do that as well. But this file should be encrypted with PGP keys. Okay, its support for signing and unsigning of files enables you to create a schema file format to use for the files to transfer. The schema can be created from either a comma separated value files or from an existing schema file. The supported delimiter in the file are space, comma, semicolon, or tab. So you can use either of them, the space, comma, semicolon, to create your CSV file. It support operation. There are multiple operations are supported by FTP adapter. Like we can list a file from a directory. You can read a file from a directory. You can write a file to a directory. You can download a file. You can download a file on a staging area. You can move a file from one directory to another, or you can delete a file from a directory too. All these operations which you use, all are synchronous operation and provide responses. All the operations support dynamically passing the headers directory for the file name. So if you are using any one of the operation like list file, read file, and you wanted to pass the file name dynamically from, and you wanted to take that file name or the directory from the consumer, right? Then you can pass these direct in the file name dynamically. So there are some important links which I am going to project here, like how to generate PGP public and private key. You can use this link https://pgpkeygen.com. If you wanted to download the WinSCP, you can use this. It would be required when we will read and write file and we wanted to see that the file has been written on the FTP or not. Then we have to download the puttigen in order to generate public and private keys. So the puttigen can be downloaded using this link https://www.puttigen.com. Okay, so let's get started and see how we can provision a FTP server. So before we provision a FTP server, okay, we will generate a public and the private key. It is because we are going to provision a FTP server from my Oracle Cloud subscription only. Okay, so first open a puttigen. I already have a puttigen. I will open it and will show you how you can generate public and private key pair. Okay, so I have opened this putty key generator. Once you open it, this will be the open, right? And you need to click on a generate. Once you do this, here you see there is an empty space. You just need to hover it. Once you will hover it, it will generate a public key, right? And then Here you will copy this public key, and this public key will be used when you will provision an FTP server. Okay, and here you need to enter the private key password. This is optional. If you will not enter it, and then when you will use this private key, you don't require this password. But if you enter this password and you say private key, then you have to use this password while using that private key. Okay, so I'm going to use a password over here. Okay, and then save public key. You can save your public key, public. Same ways you can save your private key. Okay, now you can close your quotation. So this is how you can generate public and private key. Now I will jump on my cloud console and will provision an VM. Okay, so let me jump in there. Okay, so I have logged in into my Oracle console, which I have walked you through during my previous session, how we can go there. And now just click on a compute and then click on a instances. So under instances you can create a different type of VM. Like you can create Linux VM, you can create a Windows VM. Okay, if this is not visible, you have to select a compartment from here. Okay, by default it is selected. Now just click on a create instance. Once you do this, here a page will be opened where you need to provide little information like name. Then from here you can change the operating system, and then you need to add the SSH key which we have created in my earlier step, and then just click on the create button. Okay, I can say learning FTP. Okay, and then from here, okay, by default it will be in the availability domain. The shape and time will be this. You can change it, boot volume, and then network. Okay, now you need to paste your public key which we have seen there. Let me just take it from there. So I have just copied the key. That's it. And now you just click on a create button. Once you will click on a create button, the instance will be in provisioning state. Here you can see the instance, it is in provisioning state. Okay, provisioning state. So once it will be provisioned, it will give you a public address which you can use to connect to your FTP server. Okay, so this is the VM which we have created, and this VM can be treated as a FTP server to push the file, to read the file. Okay, and default username of this FTP is OPC, Oracle Public Cloud. And when we will log in via WinSCP, or when we will create a connection, we will give a username OPC. But you can create different user like Oracle, any user. Okay, now let it be provisioned successfully. In meanwhile, I will show you how to generate PGP keys. Okay, so for this I have already this pgpkeygen.com site open. You need to enter a basic information, like I can enter my name. You can enter any email ID over here. It will not be authenticated. You can put the algorithm. I can put RSA. You can put the key size. I will put 4096 bit. It is more secure. And then I will set a expiry like 8 years. And then you can give the passphrase of your private key. So this private key passphrase will be used when you will decrypt the file, or when you will create the connection. Okay. So I will give the passphrase over here. Now just click on generate keys. Now the keys will be generated, and here the keys will be visible, and then you can download public key, and then you can download private key. It will take certain minutes to generate. Now you see your public key and the private key has been generated. This is the PGP public key. Okay, now just download it, and then download your private key as well. Okay, now you have downloaded the PGP public key and the PGP private key. Okay, now let's go back and then see if your server has been provisioned. Yes, the server has been provisioned, and there's a public IP associated with this. So I'll just click on instance details, and it will show you the public IP. Okay, let me just refresh it. Okay, so here you will see there's a public IP. So I will use this public IP in order to create a connection in OIC. So I have just logged in into my Oracle Integration Cloud and just click on the connections. Okay. Now you need to choose the FTP adapter. Just click on a create button, and from here just search FTP, and then it will be searchable, and then just select your FTP adapter. Now here you need a dialog box will be opened wherein you need to enter a name, identifier, and enroll. Okay, so I will say FTP connection learning. Okay, same ways you can choose role, trigger, invoke, trigger, and invoke. Okay, so role is trigger. Trigger means that you cannot use FTP adapter as a trigger. Okay, you cannot use it. So you have to use this FTP adapter in the invoke, which means if you wanted to pull the files from a FTP directory, you cannot do that using the FTP adapter. So for that you have to use another adapter called file adapter, which we will cover later. Okay, so I can choose trigger and invoke both. Just choose it and then click on the create button. Now here you will see the multiple things which you need to enter. So just click on a configure connectivity, and from here you need, there are two properties, mandatory properties, the FTP server host address and the FTP server port. So you need to enter the public IP which has taken out when we created the instance. Just put it over there, and the FTP server per port is 22. Okay, by default the port is 22, and you have to select SFTP connection. Yes, this is the my FTP connection. You can give passive IP as a host address, then you can give a host key, SSL certificate, FTP server OS, channel mask, SFTP, and FTP server time zone. Okay, now just click on a OK button. So all these are optional properties. I'm not going to use it. Just click on a OK. Now go down. Now just click on configure security. On a configure security, you need to provide your security credentials. In the security policy, there are different policy which you can use to authenticate your FTP server. Okay, like FTP server access policy, wherein you need to enter username or the password. If you use this FTP public key authentication, okay, here you can enter username, the private key file, and then password of the private key. If you use this FTP multi-level authentication, there you have to use username password along with the private key. Okay, so since my FTP server is authenticated using FTP public key authentication, this public key and private key we generated in my previous step, in my first step using PuttyGen. Okay, so as I mentioned, the username is OPC by default. Okay, so here you just select this checkbox and you have to upload the private key which we downloaded from PuttyGen. So just click on the upload button and then choose file. Okay, so I will choose my file. So here I just select this private key and then click on upload. Same ways you have to enter the private key password which we have entered into the PuttyGen. Now you have to confirm. Okay. Now you see PGP public key and then PGP private key. If you wanted to use this FTP connection to create an encrypt file, so you have to use the, you have to upload the PGP public key. PGP public key is used to encrypt the file. Just select this checkbox and then again click on the upload button. Choose your public file. So I have, so this is my public file, and then upload. Once you choose a public key, you have to select this ASCII armor. Just select yes, and you can choose the cipher algorithm. This is mandatory when you choose PGP private public key. Now same way I will select the PGP private key. PGP private key is used to decrypt the file. Okay, and then click on a, just upload this. Now you have to enter the PGP private key password. Okay, and then click on a OK button. That's it. So we just require all these details, and here you see my connection has been reached to the 85%. Now just click on the test button to check the connection has been tested successfully or not. Okay, one more thing I want to tell you. Okay, so in this configure security, there are other properties as well, like the PGP sign public key and the PGP sign private key. If you wanted to sign your file or you unsign your file, you can use the PGP public sign public key. You have to upload this public and private key. Now here you see in the section agent group is also there. If your FTP which you are trying to connect resides behind the firewall, then you have to configure the agent group here. Okay, since my FTP is accessible over the internet, hence I don't require it. Just click on a test button. Once you click on a test button, you just click diagnose or test and simply click test. Click on this, and here you see the connection has been tested successfully. Now this connection is ready to use in my integration. Just save it and then close it. That's it. Now your connection is ready to use in the integration. Okay, so that's all about this module. Now in the next module, we will see how we will use this FTP connection in order to do multiple operations. Thanks for this module. Thanks. Bye-bye.